What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Campus Cuts, and I'm your host, Tanaka Tava. Today, we had a special guest, one of my closest homies, a man of God, a man that continues to just go out there and is so passionate about nature, the environment, and he's somebody who's always been a messenger, and he wants to utilize his whole being to be able to celebrate and spread the gospel. This dude is an OG, met in my freshman year at Baylor. And now he's doing some big things at Texas A&M, and we're going to dive deep into that. So without further ado, I want to introduce my guy, Mr. Joshua Bell. Welcome to the show, bro.
What's up, Tanaka? Bro, that intro makes me want to dance, and I don't dance.
Bro, we keep it that way.
I was like, oh,
yeah,
I'm starting to feel something.
Yeah, that is the that's what we want to do, and I'm so grateful that we have an opportunity to be able to meet. And thank you. I'm really glad that you liked the intro. I mean, we worked hard on the intro. Shout out Ezreal and myself for
Let's go.
And the people behind it that made it happen. But
Yes.
dude, it's we're finally here. We talked about this. We've been talking about this for 2 years since I started this, and now we are here. You're officially on the pod, bro, at the talk show.
Wow.
How does it feel?
It's an honor. I looked at the list on Spotify. It was like 300 something. It's like, man, you've come a long way. This is such an honor to be on the show.
Yeah, bro. I mean, yeah, worked my face off.
For real, it doesn't come easy.
Yeah, man. It comes with these peaks and valleys, but I'm super grateful that you created the time to be able to chop it up and share your story and your perspective. I value your wisdom and I value what you have to bring, and I just wanted to bring you onto the show and highlight you, bro. So, of course, I gave my intro about you, but I just want to start off the show is who you are. So, what is your name, where you're from, and then your occupation / major, and then we'll do a deeper dive later.
Sweet. Yeah. So my name is Joshua Bell, and I am originally from outside of San Antonio, Fair Oaks Ranch, to be exact. It's near Bernie. I'm in the Hill Country area. I graduated from Baylor in December of 2020 in environmental science. Now I am at Texas A&M for graduate school, getting a really cool degree in water management and hydrological science. Who I am? I mean, I love that you asked that question, and it's kind of open-ended, because that's what this conversation is supposed to be for. So, I mean, identity-wise, I have put my faith in Christ, so my identity is in Him. That is who I am on a deeper level. Otherwise, a friend, a brother, and I think a word that comes to mind is like, maybe it's 2 words, servant leader. I think there's just been a lot of things that line up that have highlighted that phrase in my life. So yeah, bro. That's what's
servant leader. That's good. No, I want you to dive deeper into that. You said that there's a lot of things that highlighted that phrase in your life. When was the first time that you felt like you were a servant leader? Like, talk about that first experience of being able to lead with a servant heart. Your very first experience, and how that has continued to shape who you are today.
Yeah. So what comes to mind first is working at Pine Cove. Bro, Pine Cove is wild. It's so fun, but it is tough. And for people who don't know, it's a Christian camp over the summer, but they have some things during the school year and whatnot. And it's usually about a week long, where either like families or kids can come together and they just get served. It's supposed to be a week where they can relax and have fun, have every meal served to them, and then just Bible studies throughout the week and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, Pine Cove, like, you are working in the kitchen, scrubbing dishes, and no one sees you.
Mm.
And I love the culture that they cultivated of having so much joy, even in the kitchen,
Right.
where like the servant heart goes unnoticed, but it's still celebrated with the other servants. um, and then the leadership side of things, like I had the opportunity to be an extreme activities coordinator, so helping facilitate the activities of paintball, skeet shooting, and ropes course. So that, I mean, demanded a lot of leadership and having confidence, um, as well. But it's all tied together. So I think that was the first experience that uh, really shaped me. And then learning from that, now I know, and even hearing you talk about it as well, like on social media and just any call that we have of always trying to serve first before people would actually follow,
Right.
because no one wants to follow a leader that's not willing to first serve.
Right.
So yeah, that's what comes to mind.
Yeah, that's good. That's so true. And especially in this day and age where there's a need of leaders. Every great leader is a great follower because they had to follow somebody in order to be able to learn from someone in order to step up to the plate. And, you know, a leader comes in all different types of shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
And, speaking about this, like, idea of leadership, before you became fond of servant leadership, what was your perception of leadership before that?
Well, yeah, so I mean, I don't want to put myself into a box, but I took the Enneagram a long time ago and I was like, okay, I'm definitely an achiever. I love having goals in mind. And it's almost it was, and it still is to some degree, for the um, ultimate goal of people looking up to me. And it's like, okay, so whenever I was a lot younger, a leader was someone that people just look up to. And
Right.
so I set high goals for that of, man, I don't know what it is, but I want people to follow. Or just set a good example. Honestly, even just setting like solid, righteous examples throughout the day. And
Right.
um, yeah, did that answer?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So back in the day, it was first of a model of I just want be the guy. I want somebody that is there, that is like, yeah, I want to be looked up to.
yeah, yeah. But then what's crazy is that you read in scripture about Jesus having thousands of people follow him,
Right.
and then you see the next passage about him washing feet.
Mm,
Like what leader would have that contrast?
right.
And anyways, that's what came to mind. And as I'm like, especially at Baylor, finding, okay, as a Christian in my walk with Christ, I'm constantly learning to be humble and to first serve behind the scenes where no one notices.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, like even stuff like in a life group or something where we go around and share praises of what happened throughout the week. Yeah, I want to have those secrets with God where it's only the Lord saw me do that. I think there's so much treasure in it because it strengthens you personally of, okay, I'm no longer going to be living to try to fulfill some sort of compliment by man,
Right.
but it's like I'm building a history book with the Lord of what it looks like to be a servant behind the scenes. And I
Mm-hmm.
think through that comes the blessing of leadership.
Right.
But yeah, what do
Yeah.
you think? What was your experience with Pine Cove learning that kind of stuff?
Um, what was my experience? um, nah, man. It definitely it.
Or you probably had a different experience because it was also camp in the city and stuff.
It was camp in the city. For people that didn't know, I did at one point in time work at Pine Cove for just one summer, and actually where I still have one of my two closest homies. That's where I met Raymond Mumba Williams and E.J. Hibbler. Shout out,
EJ.
shout out to those guys. So those amazing individuals, amazing black men. Um, and TA, Tyler Arnold, Josiah, Fabian, Jimmy, bro. There's so many people that I want to shout out on that, like that I could just list off. Mariana, oh my gosh, Valerie, y'all, they listen to my stuff. So, like I'm just like, hey yo, shout out to y'all, Aaron, just so many good, amazing individuals. D'Lo, that came out of that. But I think one of the things that I learned from there when it came to leadership per se is leadership is not binary, um, and especially in the sense of everybody it wants to be attracted to the titles, wants to be attracted to saying that I'm a senior counselor or anything of that nature. But um, it really taught me in order to be a great leader, you need to be a great leader of yourself, and being a great leader of yourself is by being a great follower of the source. By being able to submit to somebody who is greater than you, and you understand that it's never been about you. And of course, this was coming after Eve, after I crossed, went to my fraternity, was in multiple leadership positions at Baylor, whatever. But it's one of those things where you realize that leadership is something not to be taken lightly, and it's is giving you their child, their most prized and loved possession, in order for your care for a week, but multiple weeks, and you being able to sit down with them and sit with them and try to teach them and try to love on them and trying to understand that, hey, one kid is going to go over there, another kid is going to go out. It's like, but it's so humbling, especially, they look up to you, but at the same time, I look up to them. It's like, yo, I look up to you kids because I never had this opportunity. I never been to Pine Cove. I did. That was the thing I only heard about at Baylor, right? I look up to them to
Yeah.
be able to see that how their curiosity and how their life and when it was lit of fire. One for the Lord, but two, most importantly, to interact with other kids and being able to see the progression of how one kid was able to, be shy and see how they moved, or another kid was rambunctious or whatever, and how they calmed down, and you get to understand the stories and you get to sit
Yeah.
with them and you get to be like, yeah. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful, man. Um,
Yeah.
but on the flip side, it also taught me that leadership is, I believe everybody's called to be a leader. It's just whether or not we'll be like in what type of circumstances will be able to have the opportunity to
Mm.
create them, right? And that's with somebody being able to give you and hand you the rope and or give you the baton and say, I trust you. I trust you, and I believe in you, because it can be cultivated. It's a gift that it can be cultivated with everyone. It's just now being able to be willing in order to kill your ego, to be say, hey, you know what, this person has something about them. I'm going to shut down anything I want. I'm not going to make sure that I'm not threatened in order to make sure that I elevate, so the whole collective can be better as well.
Mm.
Those are some of my takeaways from that experience.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope that made sense.
No, that's so good. I liked what you said about um uh like a lot earlier about internal leadership first of like um before you can even lead others of having things that you can lead yourself into confidently. And it's like, okay, practically that's a hard work ethic, or am I making my bed every morning?
Shout out to the general, the UT speech.
Yes. That was so solid. No, but seriously, like, what are the things throughout your day that you're building good habits into that's making you just naturally fall into leadership?
Mm.
Um,
And you know what? That's a great question. What are your top 3 things that you do in order to make sure that you bring in that habitual, like that, for your self leadership?
yeah. I like your phrase of connection to the source. So practically, that looks like having quiet time in the morning where I'm reading scripture and I'm gaining wisdom from the Lord. Because if I truly believe that in Him, the creator of all things, that there's knowledge that can truly strengthen me, then I want to spend more time with Him. Not just for that reason, but that's like one of the many fruits. And so, yeah, practically, I think that. Man, this is such a loaded question.
I know. That was, bro. We go
It's
deep
so
here. We go
powerful.
deep here.
That's so good. I don't want any of that surface baloney. Bro, yeah, I mean, it goes back to the servant aspect of things. So like, what are some small things I'm doing throughout the day that no one would see? And building that into a habit. So I'm even just thinking about, this is such a silly example, but I just noticed it today of, I'm riding my bike on campus. Am I yielding to pedestrians?
No.
And I mean, it's just like a little thing, but it truly changes my mentality.
Mm.
Like, and it's those little things that are building up and truly shaping how you're seeing other people. So if I consistently am like trying to not fly by people walking when I'm on my bike, then I think something in my heart changes where I'm like, okay, I have a deeper care for people or something, even if it's as small as that.
Right.
Yeah, and I love trying to meet up with people one-on-one, just having conversations. Because, group conversations can only go so far.
Yeah.
And what you find a lot of the times is it's easier for somebody to put on a mask when they're in a group. Even sometimes unintentionally.
Of course.
It's just like, oh, they're around fun people, so they might act a little bit different. And it's just like, that's how a ton of us are.
All
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah. But whenever you meet up with somebody one-on-one, it's like they're looking around. Okay, it's just you. You're the one that's actually asking me these things. So how is that shaping me into a leader? Uh, I mean, it even goes back to like, why are you even having this podcast of you like serving other people in the way that you want to hear other people's perspectives, um, and submitting to their time in a sense of you valuing their time and you just want to hear. Um, you just want to hear about their life, their perspective, their thoughts on this or that. And I think that's serving them because, yeah, time is so valuable. And it's like people love talking about themselves. And so by giving somebody an hour to talk about themselves, I think that's serving them.
Yeah.
In a sense, in a
Yeah.
sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was so good. And you know what you said without in there that was profound was everybody in a group setting
Yeah.
is puts on a mask.
Yeah.
And it's like social, like just being adaptive and us being like, adapt like situational awareness and us making sure that who is who, whatever. But oftentimes the mask is something is a way to protect ourselves, right?
Hmm.
I'm really big on getting people and really, you know, taking allowing people the space and opportunity to take off the mask because
Yeah.
it's one of the most powerful things that you can do with another person.
Yeah.
Um, it might be a little bit too personal, but let me ask you this: when was the time that you felt like you put on the mask, and how have you overcome, and how do you make sure that wherever you are, that you don't have to put that mask on?
Yes, dude. Man. Um,
Yeah, we're going deep.
hey, that's how we're actually gonna learn. That's so good, man. That's a great question. Okay. Um, okay. So what comes to mind is, yeah, being really honest, like putting on a mask in the class.
Mm,
Uh, I I think I'm pretty like academic minded, I guess. I've always enjoyed school, which is honestly a blessing seeing that other people just really struggle.
yeah,
And yeah, so that's a gift. It's just come easier to me than maybe for other people. So
right.
academically speaking, when I'm in a classroom or I'm in a research meeting, I I want to know everything even before the teacher asks the question so that I won't embarrass myself.
Mm,
And so and feeling almost this pressure on myself of being obligated to already know the material before it's taught. Which is that's so
that's
untrue. It's
insanity.
yeah. Yeah, but it's like it's because whenever you look back at those times where somebody asked the question and you're like, "Oh, I actually really know this answer." Like, yeah, and you get to share, uh, I mean, for some people, but definitely for me, it's like, "Oh, I feel affirmed by that," of like, "Wow, I knew what they were talking about, and I could answer it," and the person asking the question was like, "Yeah, that's right." But the reality is that you're learning. You don't know the answers. But I would put this mask on of like, I guess Uh, I guess I guess it would be called academic excellence,
Right.
a mask of academic excellence. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, the A's, B's, and C's, those are all fine and everything, but personally and socially, a mask of academic excellence where if somebody asks a science question, I need to know the answer. But science is like mind blowing. There's so much that we still don't know.
Right.
And yeah, I think a mask I would put on in class so that people would just look up to me. Yeah, it goes back to even uh, wanting to be a leader. Man, this is so vulnerable.
So, man,
But
thank
yeah,
you.
it's true of uh yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to have the answers? Like you want to be that person that people can go to for answers, right? Like so that I'm not saying that's an excuse, but that's just like also something that comes up naturally. It's like, yeah, of course I want to know the answer. Oh, um, anyways, yeah, bro. I mean, probably a mask of academic excellence. And I'm even thinking about my research meetings of these brilliant professors and me preparing for some sort of presentation. And it's like, if they ask me about this and I don't know it, and they only ask one question the whole time, it's going to look like I don't know anything.
Right.
And it's like, oh man, if only they would ask me this and this and this. So I always want to try to be prepared, and even over the top where I'm putting pressure on myself that wasn't even put on by the professors. The
Right.
professors aren't expecting me to know everything. I'm just like just a grad student.
Right.
So yeah, that's a long answer, but
Nah,
man,
beautiful. That's beautiful, man. That is so. One, thank you so much. Now, this is what I've always envisioned the pod being, bro.
yes.
Able to sit and have vulnerable, authentic, honest conversations about perspectives. Because who knows, like this. Well, like being on the receiving end, I know, and realizing the impact that this has created. Like I know, like it has freed people. It is
Mhm.
free, whether it's my own story or whether it's the story of somebody else. Like one of the most notable things, for example, was when I interviewed a dear friend, Jade, an amazing, amazing woman. She wants to be a lawyer, doing some amazing stuff. Um, One time, a person said, before I listened to the podcast, I had this whole perception of her, but since listening to it, it just made me appreciate, and it just broke down every preconceived notion that I had. And like because we live in a world where everything's so quick bites. Headline this, quick, so the second
Mhm.
sentence, whatever. Swipe, da 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 da, scroll. But we don't have the art of having a conversation, honest conversation, is being lost, right? And so understand that you're freeing somebody right now, right?
Mhm.
If we Yahweh's working through you because you're able to be vulnerable in that, and your willingness and say like
Yeah.
and of course I feel like especially high achievers, right? They
Mm.
want to have the
Yeah.
pressure to know, because if they don't, they
Mhm.
feel vulnerable, and they won't feel if they're of value. But the
Mhm.
value is already intrinsic because it's already been set, because we know, and
Yeah.
hopefully other people know that your value has been done and stamped when the blood of Christ was already drawn,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then so it is just that reminder of like, you know what, no matter where we are, everybody has felt and has battled this or whatever, anything like that. From like, like, bro, I've interviewed some highly successful people. They still feel like this. Whoa,
Yeah.
it don't matter. And it's amazing, bro. So don't ever feel ashamed. And I'm so grateful that um I'm able to just to be a steward and just be able to listen to that and also affirm you, bro. Like doing some amazing stuff, man. And it's good to not to know, because if we knew everything, we would be God and life would be boring.
Yeah, it's the adventure of always learning. Like that's part of the journey, right?
Yeah, that is part of the journey. That is part of the journey. But that's so good. And so my follow-up question for you that is have you felt like what's your antidote to wearing
Mm.
the mask?
Yeah. Um,
It doesn't have to be a complete answer, but like, just things that help you, say that I don't have to put this or I'm okay.
yeah. Uh, I think when I'm talking to my parents about
Mhm.
this and they affirm me and they say, "You don't have to know everything. It's fine." And then all of a sudden it hits me again. I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, they're right." Uh, yeah, so even just like simple calls with my parents are so powerful. Like I'll just be sharing and they'll say, "Oh, how are you feeling today?" And if I tell them I'm stressed out about something, they're like, "Oh, well, yeah, you can do it. It's fine." I'm like, "What is this perspective they have?"
That's magic. What kind of sorcery is this?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's so powerful. I think the other thing, whenever I'm not around them or I'm not calling or they're not calling, is music.
Mm,
So listening to music is one thing, but also, oh man, this is so good. Just being creative, having some sort of creative outlet is so powerful.
yeah, yeah,
And each person has their own creative potential.
right.
And it's like once you find that, you can run with it. And you find that whenever you're running in that creative potential, that you're actually getting freed from so many things. So
Mm,
thinking about like, okay, whenever I go shoot photos, I don't care at all about any academic stuff. I'm just
mm.
outside. I'm just outside
In nature.
enjoying creation. Yeah, just letting my mind go. And you know what's cool about I don't know if girls do this, but guys, we can think about nothing. It's actually possible.
Yeah, yeah, bro, like and it's somebody to be like, "What are you thinking about?" "Oh, nothing." "No, you gotta be thinking about something." It's like, bro, like, be legit. Are you thinking about nothing?
Man, it's kind of weird, but it's true. Like you'll just be on a run or taking photos or just outside and you're like just content with being and that's
Mm,
it.
mm.
Um, so yeah, being outside, having some sort of creative outlet is definitely helps with that stress that I put on myself.
Yeah, that's good. I love that. I love that. Man, wow. Yeah, the creative outlet is in my, me, bro, being a creative, right?
Yeah.
Or working in what I one of the things that I think about quite often um, is that people think that creativity is nascent or not nascent. That's not the wrong word. Is a gift or like in the terms of it's like it can only be a certain few. But if we were created by the creator, we all have the innate ability to co-create with him.
Yep.
And creativity is in the sense of you like I mean, bro, I say this all the time, bro. Like, I had a question. Somebody asked me, "What is the greatest form of design I ever think has been created?" I said, "The human body is the physiological makeup of the body. the mind, the nervous system. Because each and everything we do today, whether it's technology, whether it's nature, or any sort of advancement or innovation, is only an extension of us studying the body and trying to create tools in order to do what? To help us, right?
Mhm.
Like Leonardo da Vinci, and just talking about like him and his artistry, and okay, what, we're gonna get the wings and all of that stuff, and like life in nature, bro, is and me about tech, bro. Like I mean, I love tech. It's dope, but I think sometimes it's just like, bro, you can't replace this. No
Mhm.
one can replicate this, and this is the most beautiful design. And us being in existence is a beautiful art, and us we having the gifts and the talents of what we do and what we've done, right, is allowing us to continue to share um the design that's been created, bro. I don't
Mhm.
know, but I could talk about this all day. but
Yeah.
but I just love how you say that that creative outlet is just you focusing on the photography and allowing you to continue just to capture these moments or capture nature. It makes you feel at ease. Like, so I want you to talk about that a little bit more. Obviously, now you're in your career as somebody who is you're bridging the two, right? Like, why? Like, what first got you into photography, and second, why is your stuff so centered about nature?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, that's a great question. I mean, I think, when did Instagram come out?
October 10th, 2011.
Okay. So that was probably like middle school going into high school, sometime around there.
Sorry,
Yeah.
2010. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so I think around that time, honestly, where I'm seeing other people's art
Mm,
and other people's photos, because Instagram's specifically designed for that. I'm like,
yes.
oh, okay. And just with media, you can get flooded with so many ideas that prior to media you had no exposure to. And
Mm,
so just seeing, I'd say for probably like a few years, just seeing all sorts of different cool photos and not really thinking anything of it.
right.
Um, but then, like, seeing people take photos of the stars, I'm like,
Yes.
what? That's possible? That's so cool. And um, yeah, so I think towards the end of high school, I got more into photography. Um, and yeah, specifically landscapes and just being outdoors. But I was looking for what is my motto for this? Why am I doing it?
Mm,
And because I feel something whenever I'm expressing myself through that creative outlet. And ultimately, it all came down to this idea of me trying to capture the breath of God in a photo,
mm, mm.
which is and isn't possible.
Yeah.
So just like, man, what can I do to frame this photo where I can get like the most full potential of all the senses in capturing just one photo,
Right.
um, where somebody looking at that photo would be like, oh, something's different about that.
Mm,
And uh, yeah, so I think that's definitely the phrase that comes to mind. And then what was really cool was getting into like old school film photography,
yeah.
which, if y'all haven't done it before, highly recommend. If you have a little bit of money on the side and you want to try to pick up a hobby, it makes you appreciate photography so much more. And it makes you pause and slow down. It's
Mm,
like the Sabbath for photography.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
because I'm like, all right, I only have 35, 36 shots on this roll. It's going to cost me $20 maybe to get it developed. It costs this much to buy the roll. It costs this much for the camera. So I want to make each one count.
Mm,
And in digital, you're just shooting away, sometimes carelessly, which can be good in certain situations because then you can go back and be like, oh, that was the one I was looking for. But whenever you're shooting like slow, old school 35 millimeter film, then you have to pause and think. And ultimately, you get to the point where you don't even have your camera anymore, but you're looking around at things and you're like, okay, how could I pause and set up this to fully capture it?
right.
So yeah, it even just changes your mindset of being
Mm,
outdoors and stuff like that. But yeah, bro,
mm.
I know you did a little bit of photography, right? Are you still into it? You
Yeah,
still shoot?
bro. Yes, of course I'm still shooting. No, bro.
Yes.
No, bro. Like, it stopped when people start asking me to start take pictures for them for money, and I
Oh.
hated it. I hated it, bro, because it's just like I hated it. Like, because well, of course, when you're starting something, whatever. Of course, when you do a college side hustle, and I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, but yeah, go, good money. I got some in my pocket." But then, of course, you start to feel like you're sometimes as the money continues to increase, your enjoyment and your fulfillment continues to decrease, and so
Hmm.
you're not in alignment with whatever it is. And for me, photography, I was actually I had dinner with my frat brother who actually told me to get a camera, and it was supposed to be for the fraternity, but then I was just like, I don't know. I but I've always been fascinated with the camera ever since I was young, right?
Mm.
And so now with that, just this hobby, it just turned into a hobby of just being able to capture people. And and now being able to cultivate that skill for yes, whenever I wanted to just for my friends and whatever. But it's like, yo, what is something in your life that you don't have to do for profit, or to commoditize, or to monetize, or just
Yes.
truly just enjoy, just to craft and just to get better, just to continue just to be present with it. And so for me, I've been working on a personal project where I have a Polaroid camera, my sister's Polaroid camera, and of course I'm a digital. And it's like, yo, I want to take a picture with the people that I spend the time with, or the most important people in my life, and have it in this photo scrapping book with the date and whatnot. And it's just been such a beautiful experience to be able to do that. So yeah, I have my digital, but then also I now have my Polaroid, an
Yeah.
analog. And it's just such a beautiful moment just to be able to capture like, it's like, this thing is etched in stone. And here we are just to be able to just take this time just to do that. So yes, my photography is still going very strong, and I have my portfolio and whatever. But I'm just like, it's for me. It's just I don't want to get paid to do it because I
Yeah.
just want to. I mean, obviously, clearly, I don't need to get paid for anything anymore. But I'm just so grateful just to be able to just to live, do something out of the passion of it, and just to continue just to cultivate that skill of getting better, practicing, and enjoying the beautiful creation that's been bestowed upon us, and just hopefully try to capture it with my little eye as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that was so powerful what you said about whenever you started getting money for photography and then you found your enjoyment level just went down. And then you said something about like, what can I do just for fun where I'm not even getting paid anything? And that is so key
Mm,
because everyone you like, I would say the majority of people want to get paid for anything and everything that they can do. There's not a lot of people that want to just do something, like spend their time, their valuable time doing it. And sometimes it's costly for knowing that you're definitely not going to get paid.
Yeah.
And yeah, it ultimately like calls you back to be humble. Like,
Yeah.
okay, let's have this way that I can make money. Which I'm not saying there shouldn't be multiple avenues for how you get revenue. I think that's awesome if you have multiple avenues, but if every avenue that you're spending your time doing is for the sake of you getting some revenue, like some monetary benefit out of it, then you start to think like, okay, where is my creative outlet? What am I doing outside of all this just for the sake of being, just for the sake of life? Like,
Yeah. Life.
yeah.
Mm.
But man, it's so powerful because it even goes back to what we were talking about of like it frees you from a lot of things if you can have that Sabbath outlet.
Yeah, you're so right, man. And bro, this is a good question. It frees you from a lot of things. What's your definition of freedom? What does it mean? What does freedom mean if a Josh Bell?
Oh. um Freedom in my mind is two things that go together. It is knowing which, yeah, it is knowing who God is and who
Mm,
I am in God.
mm,
If those two things can come together, then you will experience the utmost freedom that no political party could give you.
mm,
And
mm.
I I truly believe this, but sometimes I can't speak from like like a hard upbringing experience where I can say like, okay, uh, I actually did need some sort of political justice or breakthrough for freedom. I like am very grateful that I had a blessed upbringing, and for that reason, like there weren't a lot of man-made things
Right,
or parties or anything that I had to look for some sort of freedom.
right.
Uh, but regardless, I think there is a universal truth that goes beyond any sort of boundary line, like that you're putting up politically or mentally, which is knowing who God is and who you are in God.
Right.
And man, yeah, I think if you can get those two things, then yeah, you'll have so much freedom, and you'll truly understand. You'll be able to get a glimpse of the perspective of our timeline in eternity, and that will just open up your mind and call you to want to live.
Mm.
And uh, yeah, I think just looking at the stars really helps with that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's that.
man, the expanse of the universe, what is freedom? and it's like boundless imagination that we can't comprehend. What do you think it is?
Man, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Like, childlike joy. Childlike joy, bro. A child's not is not concerned of what somebody thinks of them. They're like, it's
Yeah.
it's the I mean, of course, my friend gave me the nickname Free World T, bro. He's like, bro, you so free, bro. You traveling the world, man. Of course, T, we were talking about it. Like, I'm inspired by Pharrell skateboard P. So Free World T. But that name for me personally really stems from the fact that yes, the blood of Christ, and it has freed us and being able to live in Christ, but taken away from like a Christian perspective, but more in a practical, secular perspective. Freedom to me just means the ability just to love, like pure love, love with no bounds, love with no conditions, but love. I know it sounds so esoteric or Rastafarian or whatever, but like,
No.
man, I'm so rich. I'm so rich because I got love, man. We all and just whether like you just need one person to love you and like you have and to love and we already have that one person that loves us. And so understanding just how deep, 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 deep love is, bro. Like I love love. Like pure. Like I love you not with no expectation, not because of promise, not because of this. It's like I love world, I love one love, true love. And it's so like it's like, I might look back at this and be like, well, I don't know what 22 Young T was doing, but I don't care.
Yeah.
And the freedom is the ability just to love yourself, to love the world, to love another person, to love, just to love, just love what has been created, and mix that with empathy, and mix that with just the curiosity, just to be, bro, just that being, that state of being, just being. I'm here. Everything has been made up, manufactured, pimped out, programmed, and all that stuff for profit or for a whole bunch of stuff, right? But really, the freedom just to be able to love yourself and to love expressing the self the way that you want to, that hopefully doesn't hurt or harm anybody else, is freedom, bro.
Wow.
And that childlike joy, because a child will love you. Like, especially the child loves you, come up to you, look at you, hugs you. I love you, mommy. I love you, daddy. I love you, auntie. I love you, teacher.
Yes.
It's pure love. It just gets corrupted as we age and we continue to put all these things in the mind, but that childlike joy, man.
Yeah. There's really no words that can describe love. Like I was thinking about how could I put this into perspective? But yeah, you really can't. I mean, you had to repeat the word deep like so many times because there's really no it's just love. That is so true. That is freedom. True love, not any program stuff or a childlike love and a joyful love. That is so true. That's a good word.
Yeah. Oh man, I just have so much love, bro. It's like okay. I just always get hyped up. Each and every morning I wake up, I'm like, oh man, bro, I love you. I love God. I love my breath. I love my people. Oh, I'm just like want to continue to radiate that, bro. And even in the hard times, like, man, I love this all the time. It don't matter. Ah, it can be delusional, but oh well. I mean, bro, I'm happy, and I'm. Oh,
Yes.
yeah, okay. So I actually have you seen the TikToks? Or do you have TikTok or have you?
No, I don't.
Okay, so there's this guy on TikTok that got big. His name is Athlete Trepka.
Mhm.
Shout out Athlete, man. He's such a good guy. He started this thing, and just one of the bigger questions that I asked, and like now we're getting close to the hour. Of
Yeah.
him, and one of the things that he asked was, um, one of the things that he asked was, um, he asked people. He goes to the street and to the street and asks them, "Hey, are you happy?" So my second to last question for you, bro, is, are you happy?
Yeah. I am not worried about tomorrow. I'm content. I am learning. I
Mhm.
love people. And yeah, I know who I am in Christ.
Mhm.
So
Mm.
I'm happy. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
I, which it's honestly so sad seeing some of my friends trying to work their tail off for a PhD
Mm.
to ultimately get what? A higher paying job, which is supposed to somehow be linked to happiness. And I think there was a study a while back showing like actually there's a cap of uh, some salary to the utmost level of happiness. Do you
Yeah, yeah,
remember what it was? Like maybe 90,000 per year or something?
yeah. 70,000. It's debatable nowadays, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, which is crazy. And so, I mean, I'm not worried. I think I'm just happy. And yeah, bro, that's such a good question.
That's so
Thank you
beautiful.
for asking that.
Of course, bro. Of course, man. That's what we got to do. And bro, I just love it. Ah, I love it. I love it. I love it. And so my last three things, my last question to you is, what are three things that you would say to your 18-year-old self?
Hmm. Yeah, don't let worrying about tomorrow steal your time of today.
Mm.
Write down your dreams, and you won't regret being bold about the things you love. Those are my three things.
Wow. 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 That's so beautiful, man. Well, this is how I end the show, bro. Um, I have a segment called the Speak Life segment where I just speak over my friends or speak over the guest on my favorite segment of the show because we know that in James, life and death in the tongue is a rudder can set a fire. Blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Josh, I'll never, forever, ever, ever, ever forget the day when I first rode with you in the car. That blue, I don't know whose car that was. I think it was Retta's car or somebody's car. I don't know. Man,
It's a
damn it.
blue Hyundai Sonata or something.
Hyundai Sonata, bro. On the way to church that night with Seth. I
Yeah.
remember, I remember it all, bro. But your pursuit of the Lord, your pursuit for the passion for the environment, your pursuit for um, spreading love, man, it inspires me deeply. I'm so grateful that we have a friendship. I'm so grateful for the friendship that we have. I'm so grateful for your wisdom, your kindness, and your joy. I'm so grateful how you live life unashamed. I'm so grateful for your vulnerability, and I'm so grateful for just your love of being and just life. It's been an absolute honor just to be able to see your growth and who you're becoming and who the man that God is making you out to be. I love you, man, and it's a blessing. And I understand that you're going to do some amazing things for the environment. You're going to do some amazing things for your family, your future wife, your future kids, and you're just a solid individual. And I pray that each and every day that comes, whether it's today and tomorrow, but 20 years, that you know that you are worthy and you've always have been. So, shout out to you. Thank you so much, bro. Love you
Love you,
very much, man.
Tanaka. Thank you, bro. Love you.
Where can the people find you at if you want them to find you?
You can find my Instagram at basketbell or on LinkedIn. I'm trying to be like Tanaka and build that LinkedIn profile.
And LinkedIn is BS. Sorry, LinkedIn. It's all right.
Yeah, bro. Thanks for having me. I love talking with you. It's so good. It's so good every time.
Every time, bro. Every time. Yo, this is just a show. This is a recorded, but I mean, I wish y'all could see the off camera conversations. They're amazing. But y'all get a
Yeah.
little glimpse. Y'all got a little glimpse of speaking life. So to each and everybody out here watching it or that will watch it or listen, tell your people that you love them, and I hope you have an amazing, wonderful day. And thank you so much for taking your time out. So we are here, love, and we are